Multan Sultans fans, Ali Tareen, if you're watching the podcast, look away because this is a definitive action on our part to define the losers of this PSL 10. Multan Sultans have chalked themselves up as number one of the two teams that are going to be eliminated in this PSL. Who is going to be the second team? That is going to be a conversation to have on this podcast. We're going to briefly discuss this Multan Sultan versus Peshawar Zalmi game. I think the most exciting thing about this game was Saim Ayub, and that's something to talk about. With me here, as always, my brother, my co-host, Bashar Sayed.
I thought you were going to say, welcome to the Saim Ayub Glazing Podcast.
I mean, that's what Backward Point has become anyways. So, somebody was commenting this on a few podcasts ago, maybe. And I was like, this is bad how? This is like, Saim Ayub is the best thing to happen to Pakistan since Babar Azam.
Are we putting all of our eggs in Saim Ayub's basket?
It's been done. I mean, we didn't do this. Rizwan did this. The management did this. Everybody did this. Saim Ayub is injured. Reshuffle the entire team. We will not find a stable 11 because Saim is out.
Saim Ayub was in London chilling with Hania Amir, and Rizwan's like, we lost the Champions Trophy because of Saim Ayub.
This is the third time you said that. Is there something
it's just, the more you think about it, the crazier it gets.
I feel like you are pissed at Saim because he was hanging out with Hania.
I'm happy for him. As a fellow Gulistan Johor resident,
fair enough.
He made it.
He made it. What did you make of this game today?
Man, if there's anywhere lower than rock bottom, that is where Multan Sultans found themselves in. What a horrible time for Rizwan to be captain. Just in his last 15 games that he has captained for the Pakistan team or the Multan team, his record is 14 losses and 1 win.
Who's that win against? South
Africa?
So
this is me going back to the Tri-Series final. The 2 games we lost Champions Trophy. The 3 games he lost in New Zealand, the ODIs. And then the 8 games he has lost here plus 1-1.
Oh, so shoot.
14 games lost, 1 match won.
That's crazy, Bashar. That's an insane stat. Where'd you pull that up from?
I was doing some business before this.
Only a Rizwan hater will pull up a stat like that. Thoughts?
There's some correlation between Rizwan still being the top run scorer and Multan being at the bottom. You cannot script this.
I just think Ali Tareen went on such a huge podcast run right before the PSL started. This is bad, that is bad, this, that. Like, I just feel like, man, these badduas add up, man. These badduas add up, and everybody was like, well, you've been talking too much. Let's see what your team does, and boom, bottom of the table.
The Sultan supremacy has ended.
I want to ask you a question. Has there ever been a team in the history of the PSL that has never won a game in the season?
No, I think Karachi Kings, when Babar was captain, they lost 9 matches. And then the year after Lahore Qalandars won 2 trophies back-to-back, they, I think, also won just 1 or 2 matches.
Yeah, I think it was 1 or 2. And then again, right now, Sultan sit on 1 game winning, 7 losses.
Yeah.
Right?
The one thing I'm happy about is that tomorrow is a gap day in the PSL,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a gap day for me because I have my first game of the season tomorrow.
Are you playing?
I am playing.
Okay.
Vice captain.
Of course.
And I'm really excited to be using my Yashi Sports thigh pads in case I get to bat. It is a T20 match. I bat number 11. I will be padded up, excited to go down the order. And if you also want to be part of Yashi Sports equipment, you want to buy their stuff if you're in North America, you can go to yashisports.com. Check out their incredible variety of equipment that they have in place. Buy yours and use the code BP10 for 10% off your purchase. What better to shop from Canada's home of cricket?
I agree. I think that actually Yashi does have a diverse line of equipment. Like if you want something cheaper on the end, if we're talking about bats, they have the Kashmir Willow. If you want something high end, they have the English Willow. If you want something really, really high end, then they have the flagship properties, the Grey Nichols and everybody else as well.
If you're not sure, you can go in person and get their expert advice that they pride themselves in.
100%. Thank you, Yashi Sports, for always sponsoring the podcast. Love that. All right. So do you even want to talk about this game, Bashar? There's nothing to talk about.
You were talking about roasting me before this podcast, how I said that Multan Sultans firstly was in my top 4 teams that would make the playoffs before we did a PSL preview, and that was my predictions. And I also mentioned...
Sultan was in my top 4 as well, to be fair.
Was it? Okay. And then I also mentioned that Multan would have a crazy comeback. They would come back.
You said they won 5 games on the trot.
That's possible.
And I was looking at you, I'm like, What Kool-Aid is he drinking?
So I was making that prediction based on the fact that Multan's recent form in the past 4 years have been quite phenomenal. They've made 4 straight finals. They've won one of them. And Rizwan was always an integral part of their wins. But I didn't expect them to crash and burn this hard.
I agree. I think just in terms of a fan's user experience or a viewer experience, I should say, it will be nice to see a different top 2 playing in the final. My expertise and my analysis still suggests that maybe we'll see a repeat Islamabad United final. Who joins them? It will be an interesting question there, but it'll be fun to see somebody else there. But that being said, the downfall is crazy. I still think that Multan had cracks in their lineup throughout that were just not exposed. And as soon as the going went tough or the going got tough, they were not able to succumb to the pressure and everybody crumbled. Like today's game, Bashar, they had 7 changes. 7 changes.
And you had a smile on your face because Usman Khan was not playing.
Yes. What a delight to not see him in an 11 in a very long time. Look, I have nothing against Usman Khan. I just don't think...
Clearly you do.
No, like personally, I don't. The fade was disrespectful to me in Dubai when I saw him. But the guy, look, I have nothing. He's done nothing to me personally. I just think that his caliber of cricket is not up to the mark of a T20 player. And they keep branding him as a T20 player, even though he has, he had 2 centuries in 2024 in that PSL. I agree with that. He was one of the top run scorers. At the same time, so is Rizwan right now, right? And that's the same thing you said at the top of the podcast. What does it actually mean at the end of the day to be a top run scorer if your team is on the bottom end? Now, Usman Khan did have the benefit of him being one of the top run scorers and also his team going to the final. But if you look at the data without context, without actually watching the games, then this is the type of decisions you make where you carry an Usman Khan in the national squad for 18 months now, Bashar. It's been over a year and without an end to sight.
Would you have the same opinion, let's say, if Pakistan gives Sahibzada Farhan a chance and he flops at the international level? Would you also say that Farhan is also not a international level player and he's probably just suited for local T20s domestically or the PSL?
No, I wouldn't say that because Sahibzada Farhan has gone through the rigor of Pakistan's domestic circuit and proven himself there. Usman Khan, if we've forgotten the history of Usman Khan, he was let go of his domestic team and then he went to play in the UAE.
Right, so he was actually in the Sindh main 11 team.
Yes.
And then he was dropped to the second 11 team,
Yes.
which did not make him quite happy.
Which
and
then he went to UAE.
Then he went to the UAE, played there for a few years, and
made a name for himself there, right? And there is something to be said about that whole arc that people just keep forgetting. And that's not the case with Sahibzada Farhan. Sahibzada Farhan has scored runs in the Champions Cup, in the PSL, in all of the major tournaments that Pakistan has to offer. And he's actually knocking and he's ready to be tried and tested. Now, should Sahibzada Farhan get the run that Usman Khan gets? I don't know. Should anybody get that type of run? Maybe not. But he should definitely be given a stint at least until the next World Cup if he's a part of the plans.
And it almost feels like just because we guaranteed Usman Khan the fact that if he leaves the UAE team and commits himself to the Pakistan setup, that he'll be part of every Pakistan white ball team. And he has been part of every single white ball squad for Pakistan in the past 1 year.
Except the game that actually mattered where he would have actually done really well, which is the Pakistan-India game.
But he was still in the squad.
Yeah, he should have played that game.
So we're not dropping him. We're not playing him. He's just traveling with the team.
And we don't have enough confidence in him to play him against India, even though we have an injured Fakhar Zaman. And we go out and import an Imam Haq back into the team, but not play him. So what are we actually saying here?
7 changes in this match, and it almost felt like Multan Sultans have accepted that they are out of the tournament, which factually they are. But it felt like it's over. It's one of those games where, when you're in gully cricket, you've played a 3-match series, you're down, you lose 2-0, and you're like, I'm going to give the third match as an opportunity to new guys who haven't batted yet, who haven't bowled yet, and 7 changes indicating that they were looking to give some new guys opportunities. And a lot of the guys that they played, there was a lot of hype around picking them to begin with, whether it be Shahid Aziz, Ali Tareen doing a live FaceTime call from the draft and congratulating Shahid for being part of the team, Shahid being benched for 8 matches and finally playing today, Faisal Akram, who Multan has been developing and carrying for the past few seasons, gets his first match now when the whole PSL is over for Multan Sultans. Those are some things that don't sit right with me. Again, I understand PSL is a business. Multan is a franchise. They want to win. But Like, why keep these players, pick them, have them in your squad as placeholders when you don't want to play them in actually crucial crunch matches?
Because Bashar, I think they thought they would play another final, and they didn't really think about it like that. There is a syndrome. What happens is when you continuously win and your biases are continuously reaffirmed, then you take it easy a little bit. Like the sort of attitude that I was seeing from Ali Tareen just around the podcast circuit was just that he's so sure that he's going to make another playoff or another final that he was busy trying to fix the PSL instead of fixing his team. And I think that's the sort of attitude that sort of let them down now, because as soon as the going went tough, like I said at the top, they didn't really have an answer. And that's when their squad selection became a problem. That's when their draft picks seemed like they were out of order. That's when they seemed like even their captain, who's scoring the majority of the runs, was inept, bad calls, catch drops, etc., etc., etc. Everything that was plaguing the PSL is now plaguing Multan Sultans, and they find themselves at the bottom of the table. So it's rough for them. It's tough for them. I still think Ali Tareen is a smart manager, owner. He will find a way out of this. I don't think Multan Sultans can be in the bottom of the table for long. Maybe this season, maybe another season. Quote me on this. They will find a way back. They will just have to rebuild around their core players and understand what kind of cricket they want to play. Because if Rizwan is still on their plans moving forward, then that'll be tough for them to move forward.
The last time where Karachi finished at the bottom where Babar was captain, the next season they made drastic changes. They let Babar go to Zalmi. They traded Imad to United. They traded Amir to Quetta. And after 2 years, now Karachi seems to have a pretty good core, new management, new captain. And I would say and recommend that Multan does something very similar next season. I don't know what they want to do with Rizwan, given his recent captaincy record, and the fact that just plain and simple, he's a liability in T20, especially as an opener for someone who doesn't utilize the power play as well.
Yeah, definitely some hard questions to be answered by Ali Tareen and Co and the Sultans. But if you want to talk now of the second innings, Bashar.
I mean, just typically when we talk about Multan losing, I would usually go and look at Rizwan's strike rate, his boundary scoring, but he had the second best strike rate today amongst the top order batters, and also scored the most boundaries amongst the top order batters. So I don't have much to say about Rizwan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's his fault that his team just collapsed. Like, how many times is he going to step up and try to score those runs? And nobody else, literally from fourth number, like Ashton Turner down to Faisal Akram, nobody had anything to say against the Zalmi bowlers, who I think bowled quite well. Like,
come on, bro. Ma Sadaka that's taking 2 wickets. I have never seen this guy bowl in my life. Sai Mayub was the partnership breaker. He came in and first ball takes a wicket at Yasir Khan.
3 for 12 for 2 for Ma Sadaka, then Sai Mayub 2 over 16 for 1.
So like, is this bad bowling? Is this just terrible shot selection?
I mean, it's a team that's like already depleted in Sultans, and you can literally throw out a Sai Mayub at them or a Ma Sadaka at them, and they'll take wicket. That's how low the morale is. 7 new signings, which are 7 new changes into the team. Most of these players have not gotten a single game in the PSL. So what kind of confidence are they into? And a team that's already lost this tournament, they're out of it. What have they to play? What have they to do? And even a Sai Mayub seems like a Muralidharan at that point.
Yeah. Talking about confidence, the only thing that I'm confident in is Sendwave. And they're secure, they're fast, they give competitive rates. And especially if you're sending an amount that is $100 or higher, you definitely get a very competitive rate. I was just doing a comparative analysis between a former money sending app that I was using. And when I put $100 towards sending to Pakistan through Sendwave and $100 through that other app, I was getting a far better rate through Sendwave. And Sendwave also did not charge me any sending fees.
Yes, exactly. So if you're trying to send money from the US or Canada to Pakistan, use Sendwave. Use our code SCOREPK, get an additional $10 off of your transfer for your first time. And if you're sending over $100, you get the promo rate. Right now, it's 288 PKR per USD at the time of recording this podcast. That's a pretty good sum right now, depending on how much money you're sending. If you're sending over 100, you'll see it better. Especially people who are sending remittances back home are trying to send as much as they can. So that's a pretty good deal with Sendwave. Use our code SCOREPK. Let Sendwave know that we sent you by using that code. Get yourself $10 off as well. If you don't want to send a lot of money, you can literally just send $1. Use our code SCOREPK. you get $10 off still. So the person who you're sending it to will receive $11. You can send like a little bit of a gift. I don't know, like lunch money, whatever, pizza money. How much is pizza now in Pakistan? I don't even know. Like it has to be around that 2,800 rupees. You can definitely do that, and give them a try and let us know how you like that. Sendwave, thank you very much for sponsoring this podcast and this segment. And let's talk about the darling of this podcast, Sam. You.
Before that, I think I don't know if you heard, but Mitch Owen, the opener of Zalmi, has just gotten picked in the IPL as a replacement for Glenn Maxwell. So as soon as the games for Zalmi end, he is flying to India and playing for Punjab Super Kings.
Now, if Zalmi makes it to the final, does he then play all the PSL games and then go?
Yeah, so whenever his commitment with Zalmi ends, he is going to India.
Okay, interesting.
Hope he doesn't have any visa issues.
I mean, it's so funny that like the IPL has to pick up the scraps that PSL has to let go. Like that's so funny to me. Even though this window was supposed to be the opposite. What do you think about that?
It's a great perspective.
The IPL has to pick up PSL second-hand players. Like we've been saying that the PSL is the biggest league in the world. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so Mitch Owen,
I'm just joking, guys. By the way,
once he finishes his PSL commitments, which is a priority for him, then he will go to the IPL.
Of course, because I believe who was the other person who got Corbis?
No. Corbin Bosch.
Corbis.
But he got banned on the PSL because he abandoned Zalmi.
I'm pretty sure Mitch Owen does not want to do that, right? So he wants to be fulfilling his contract with the PSL and then going to the IPL because he doesn't want a Corbin Bosch situation, which if he just comes for South Africa, will definitely be booed in the grounds of
He's Australian.
He's Australian. Corbin Bosch is Australian?
Sorry, Mitch Owen is Australian.
No, I'm just saying Corbin Bosch.
Right.
Whenever he comes to play for South Africa in Pakistan, he'll definitely get booed. And he'll find himself quite a cold welcome.
Remember we were talking about Abdullah Shafi getting out for 3 ducks in a row and Babar is virtually opening? The same thing is happening here where Mitch Owen gets out in the first over and Babar Azam, who has sacrificed his opening spot for Mitch Owen, is now going 1 down. Babar has to come in the first over again. So like he's not catching any break here.
Babar won't catch a break this entire season. This entire season is out to get Babar, either to make him or break him. That's my theory. I've been watching this PSL very closely. This is probably the most PSL games I've ever watched in my entire life continuously. And I've noticed this pattern. The universe, God, whatever. This is a test. This whole period is a test for Babar Azam. And if Shahid Aziz can find some nip off a Multan surface and bring it back and clip Babar's pads and get him bowled, anything can happen in this world.
That delivery almost reminded me of the delivery that Hardik Pandya bowled to Babar Azam in the 2023 Asia Cup. This is the rain-affected match. That ball, it looked like it hit a rock off the pitch. It just nipped back and smashed Babar's middle stump.
You're giving Shahid Aziz a bit too much credit here.
Come on.
The ball was not...
It did nip back a bit.
The delivery was not unplayable. You're making it sound like it was Glenn McGrath.
I saw a Hawkeye comparison where if the ball had gotten straight on, Babar was middling that.
Yeah, but you're Babar Azam. You've played the swing before. You've played Mitchell Stark. You've played the best in the world, the fastest in the world. You can negotiate a little bit of a nip back.
But Shahid Aziz, he's a new bowler. He's never faced Shahid Aziz before. He's an emerging pick.
That's an insane take to me. Honestly, that's an insane take. Like, I would love to defend Babar Azam here too, but Babar Azam was already 12 for 8 on a pitch like this. Chasing 110. Come on, man.
The only positive from this is that this is the first time where Babar has been dismissed by a right arm bowler in the last 8 innings. And I was kind of surprised because I made a whole ass clip on Babar Azam's recent struggles against left arm pace. Clearly, nobody from Multan Sultans or Rizwan has seen that clip because when Babar came to bat, Rizwan changed David Willey and brought on Ubaid Shah. Like the best matchup against Babar was David Willey against Babar. But he removed David Willey and brought in an emerging bowler in Ubaid Shah. How does that make sense? It's almost like he was trying to ensure Zalmi wins. Multan's already out. The Riz bar is out.
The bar is left.
The bar is left.
The bar is low.
The bar is very low.
No, I just think it's like a lapse of probably judgment. I'm not sure what that call was. So, I agree with you that this was a pretty straightforward move. Like we've been, it's not only us who's been talking about him against left armers. It's the entire world. Everybody knows. Like Wisden did an article on this. Cricket Info's been talking about this.
Jared Kimber made a clip about the Babar struggles against left arm spin.
Yeah,
I saw this just this morning. And this was a few months back. So Babar against the left armor in general is struggling. So with Rizwan here, there's two scenarios. Number one, he's not aware of the matchup, which is incompetent from the Multan side.
Which it's hard to believe for me.
And secondly, he's aware of it, but he's not implementing it, which again is incompetent.
I think in his head it's a moot point. This game is done and dusted. Let's try something else. Maybe Ubed Shah gets Babar Azam. Ubed Shah gets in confidence because Ubed Shah is probably in their plans for next year as well. I'm not really sure what that case was. All I know is that Babar can't catch a break. Even a small total like this where he should have breezed himself over to the line with him and Saim probably scoring half centuries each, having a good time of it all. He finds himself catching a nip backer from Shahid Aziz.
Saim, let's talk about Saim's innings.
Before that, I totally forgot this. Ahmed Daniel reminds me of Mohammad Sami.
What? A lot of guys remind you of Mohammad Sami.
Bro.
You said Hasnan reminds you of Mohammad Sami.
Hasnan reminds me of Mohammad Sami in the sense that, yeah, like he's a bit wayward, has that slingy sort of action but yes, like I get what you mean. And earlier Mohammad Hassan reminds me of Sami. Bro, this Ahmed Daniel kid, his action is exactly like Mohammad Sami's. He has that little cock in his action, his head tilts, and he uses his wrist. Obviously, he's not as fast as Sami. Sami was like 150 plus. This guy's like 140-ish, touching every now and then. But I was very surprised. I thought he was quick. He was zippy. I really like his bowling. He was bowling the right areas. He picked up 3 wickets. What more do you want?
He also went to Australia, I think a couple of years back, and he played 3 games for Melbourne Stars. Those games didn't go his way. He got smashed all over the place.
Of course. So did Sami in his life. So
I think actually his action is more similar to Bumrah in the sense where he has a short run up. He doesn't have a really solid follow through, and he's short as well. So just in those lines, he's similar to Bumrah. Sami was express, bro. Sami was like 150.
I think the action was very, very reminiscent. That's all I thought. I thought the way that Ahmed Daniel was running in, his gather, his pickup, his delivery was very similar to Sami. I would love to see a side by side. I thought that was the first initial reaction when I saw him ball. I was like, whoa, second coming of Sami. And then secondly, I just missed Sami, man. Sami was just crazy. Karachi talent, Karachi agenda peaking with Sami.
Sami's face and Sami's voice don't go together.
It's so Karachi for me. So Karachi. I love it. Yes, please. Let's go to the real Karachi agenda. The air of Karachi. Sam Ayub.
Now, Sam Ayub played a great innings. There is a caveat though. He was dropped early on by Shea Hope at, was it slip or was it like a short third man?
But who has not been dropped in this tournament?
Shea Hope is a keeper and he's fielding at short third man, and I guess he's just more used to catching with his gloves. So just dropped a very regulation catch at short third, which gave Saim a life. And thanks to some poor bowling by Ubed Shah down the leg side, just exactly where Saim needs it to play his no-look shots or his flick shots or the cut shot, it gave Saim the opportunity to stay on the crease, play his shots, hit those sixes, find the gaps. And I think this innings is going to give him a lot of confidence going forward, especially now that we're in the business end of the tournament where the playoffs are nearby. And Zalmi is looking at their next couple of games to qualify for playoffs. Saim coming back in form and scoring runs is critical for them.
Did you see Saim Ayub's podcast with the Peshawar Zalmi TV person thingy?
Amin Hamzasif?
Yeah.
I haven't yet. Did you?
I've seen the whole thing.
How did it go?
Half of it is really good.
Half of it is good.
Yeah. And then the segments start.
Okay.
Such merch. And then there was another. I was surprised. Such merch, cheesiest pizza.
Oh, wow.
So brand integration.
Did he eat the pizza?
He ate the chicken of the pizza. Yo, Saim, like, okay, that's what I was trying to talk. I got distracted. The quality of the podcast aside, there was parts of that podcast that I was listening to. I was on a treadmill today. Goosebumps. This guy's head is in the game, man. To quote Troy Bolton from High School Musical, head in the game. This guy knows what he wants from life, what he wants from cricket, how good he wants to be. He's like, it literally reminded me of that speech of Timothy Chalamet when he won Best Actor at was it the Golden Globes or the BAFTA or something like that. He said, maybe you saw this. He's like, I want to be one of the best. I want to be one of the greats. I want my name to be called amongst the greats, right? And I'm working for that. And that's basically what Saim was talking about. That's what he was saying. And you can see it in his attitude. You can see that he does not like the blame game. He doesn't like, woe is me, my injury, it sucks. Like, I'm never going to be the same again. He's like, his head is so dialed in. He's so focused, Bashar. Like, I love it. And it just reaffirmed my support for Saim as the opener for Pakistan, I should say. and the guy who's going to take Pakistan into the future, into the modern day cricket, quote unquote, as we call it. His attitude is exactly what Pakistan needs. I'm going to sit here and make a prediction. Saim Ayub is your future captain. Maybe in 5-7 years he should be given the captaincy. That guy has a head on his shoulder like that I haven't seen in a very long time. And
so some would say you're jumping the gun here by just a few innings. Like Saim, if you look at his career, has had just 3 good months. And on the basis of that, you're like, let's make him the future captain. Some would say you're like fast tracking and you're trying to ruin his career by giving him captaincy. So
I'm reading between the lines, Bashar. I'm reading between the lines. The seriousness that this man possesses is unparalleled. I haven't seen anybody this dedicated. I'm like I said, I was telling you off the record as well that I was just finishing off Osman Samidi's book, and there's a whole chapter on Imran Khan on there. And Imran Khan himself was not as dedicated to the craft as Saim is. And Imran Khan had a 10-year run as captain of Pakistan. That was the golden age of Pakistan cricket. This man, if given the right tools, because he has the right attitude, given the right tools, given the right management, can do wonders for Pakistan in the game of cricket. I agree. I definitely believe that.
Well, sadly, he is in the Pakistan team, which is under the PCB. So you can bet $1 million that the PCB will find some way of ruining his mindset, just his behavior.
Bro, like he was quoting like Marcus Aurelius and like Western philosophy about getting up and getting stronger. And I'm just like, nobody in Pakistan cricket talks like the way Saim Ayub does. I implore everybody to check this podcast, at least the first 20 minutes, and then the shenanigans start happening. And I'm not really interested in that, but the first 20 minutes were solid.
But the one thing we know is that Saim Ayub is a student of Hanif Malik.
Yes.
And Hanif Malik, when we spoke to him in Islamabad last year, he is the performance and strength and conditioning coach there at Islamabad. The first thing he does when he meets a player is he overloads them with books and information. And what Hanif Malik told us is that his academy is far from Karachi. So you need to actually struggle to get to him in the first place. There's like an hour and a half drive with traffic. So he recommends to listen to audiobooks, to podcasts coming in. And all of Hanif Malik's mantra is mindset, living in the present moment, forgetting the past, not looking too far ahead, being mentally strong, and being present and aware. So I'm not surprised that Saim is reading books. I've seen some of his stories where he's taking screenshots of paragraphs he's reading. So this is brand new stuff for a Pakistan player.
The one thing he said is that when I got injured and I heard the crack of my ligament as I went down, he said to himself, like, oh Allah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be patient once again. Who has that kind of mindset, man? Who like Sanullah still complaining about his elbow? Like, what are we talking about here? And not only that, speaking of social media, man's off social media. He's like, I turned on my Instagram when I was rehabbing because I was completely bored. Apart from that, I don't see that stuff. So like this guy's forward thinking, and then he plays innings like these. He's responsible. If Zalmi does make a late playoff run, and then they do find themselves in the top 4, he'd be somebody to watch out. And honestly, for me and for the fans and for everybody in PSL involved and for the league itself, I think it'll be really important if there is a Peshawar Zalmi final. I think it's very important for a lot of people.
We saw Faisal Akram bowl for the first time in this PSL. He looked quite impressive for the 3 overs he bowled. I think just aside from a couple of bad deliveries, he looked pretty good. I would have loved to see more of him. The one criticism that's been on Faisal Akram is that he doesn't bowl as flat and quick compared to Sufyan Wakim, who has a lot more control and he has better variations. So I hope Faisal Akram improves because Pakistan circuit having more left arm unorthodox spinners is going to be good for the system and long term for the Pakistan team, especially considering our next 2 major tournaments are in Asia. So the more spinners we have in the backup, the better it is. But overall, let's look at the qualification scenario.
Look at the table
and the current points table at the PSL.
The table has gotten really interesting ever since Islamabad United lost 3 on the trot. Quetta won everything else. And like Karachi and Lahore made a late run at the top 4. And now Zalmi is also finding themselves making a run for it in the top. So Sultan's completely out of this tournament. That does not mean that everybody else is. I think the only team that we can for sure say that it's going to make the top 4 is Quetta Gladiators at this point. They have 11 points. They have a couple more games left. They can go up to 15. But even if they find themselves stuck at 11, they'll still make their way into the top 4 quite easily. Islamabad, on the other hand, I still think are pretty close to making it. Just one more win would probably solidify them into the top 4.
Also with the PSL not going to Pindi for their last 2 matches.
Yes.
they're going to be having the home advantage.
It must be easier for them.
And I heard Mike Hassan in an interview today where he said that they're eyeing the top 2 spot so they can play the qualifier, which is also in Pindi.
Yeah.
Which will just help confirm Islamabad making the finals.
Exactly. So Islamabad, I still think they should be safe if they win the next 2 games or even one of them. They should make it into the top 4. Now this is where it gets interesting. Karachi, Lahore, and Peshawar. This is where it gets interesting. Peshawar sits at 8, Lahore sits at 9, and Karachi at 10.
I think the most straightforward scenario is that if Zalmi beats Lahore in Lahore's last match, that would eliminate Lahore. And then we have the top 4 being Quetta, Islamabad, Karachi, and Zalmi. But if Zalmi loses against Lahore, that would make things very interesting.
So the next 2 games Zalmi has to play is against Karachi and Lahore. So if they beat Karachi and then lose against Lahore, they'll be at 10 points. Feel me? And then,
but Lahore would be at 11 points.
Yes, so Lahore will make it through. But then Karachi has to win against Islamabad and Zalmi. So if they lose both their games, and that means Zalmi wins one of them, Zalmi and Karachi will be at the same points. Now they will be only separated by NRR, which at this point, Karachi's is better, but at that point, it might be different. With 2 losses in Karachi's quarter and 1 win from Zalmi, they might find themselves above them on net run rate. So it's going to be a late stride for all these teams. It's gotten really crunched. And suddenly this entire PSL has gotten really interesting for me because now I'm interested in how these teams finish, which is the beauty of a tournament that ends in 6 weeks and not 12 weeks like other tournaments do.
Let's get to business. I want you to predict your top 4 based on the current scenario.
Okay. So Quetta is for sure. Islamabad is for sure in my books. So Quetta, Islamabad, lock those guys in. Okay.
I would say Karachi is through just because they're picking at the right time, and like the kind of games they've won recently against was it Quetta? Sorry, no, they lost against Quetta. The game against Lahore that they won was basically from a scenario where they were far out of the game.
Yeah.
So I think Karachi is kind of picking at the right time. So I would give Karachi the edge.
Yeah, I think it'll be Quetta, Islamabad, Karachi, and Peshawar for me because I think it'll be really tough for Lahore to win that final game.
I don't know. I'm gonna back Lahore to win this.
I think Babar plays the playoffs, and that's where he finds redemption. Babar plays the playoffs, finds redemption, pushes Zalmi into the finals.
You're a writer, so obviously you want some character development, some character arc, areas where
redemption,
where characters sort of face adversary, roadblocks. They overcome them, and then they come out as heroes. I think I'm a bit more realistic. I think Lahore had a bad game against Karachi recently, but they still have formed a pretty good lineup. And the kind of form that Fakhar Zaman is in, Mohammad Naeem has found himself in form, Daryl Mitchell and Sikandar Raza are also in the runs. I'm going to back Lahore to beat Zalmi and go through.
Okay. I mean, that's your prerogative. I can't say anything to that, but I still think that I think Zalmi has found a way to win now. And I think it'll be tough for them for any team to beat them, even Karachi. I think it'll be an interesting little run.
Time will tell.
I do have a trivia for you.
Hit me.
It's gonna be tough, but I think you can do it. Can you name in sequence all the PSL winners starting from 2016?
The teams?
Yes, in sequence.
Islamabad United, Peshawar Zalmi.
Correct.
Islamabad United.
Correct.
Quetta Gladiators.
Correct.
Karachi Kings.
Good. Correct. That was the COVID one.
Multan Sultans.
Yes.
Lahore.
Yes.
Islamabad.
Dang, bro, this guy is this encyclopedia of cricket. I thought I would have had you on that one.
It was kind of tricky. I had to like really zoom into my
I think it was the first 4 that would have tripped you out. The last 5 were.
I was confused when Zalmi won and when Quetta won.
Yeah, because Quetta won there was in the captaincy of
Sarfraz.
We all remember.
Respects.
That was our PSL trivia as well. I think that was an interesting one. Were you happy with that one?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're upset that I ask you very specific questions because your trivia sense is a lot better than mine. So I challenge you.
I prefer like top 5, top 10.
This was not that bad though. This was pretty good.
Bad.
Next time we're gonna do IPL winners in a row. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. We will check back with you guys not tomorrow because tomorrow's a day off. We're gonna relax. I'm gonna see my son after a week because this PSL daily has taken everything from me. And then we'll be back for the next round of games, and then we're gonna be heading ourselves into the playoffs. So we're gonna be really interested in that. Bashar, maybe I don't know if you're interested. Maybe a playoff live stream. I know pro sports guys are doing it. They're having a lot of fun. I checked into their stream a couple days ago. It looked like fun. I'm kind of having FOMO. Whenever you want, bro. You know where to find me.
I'm glad you were able to check in because you're in Canada.
Yes, I am in Canada. Some other fans not able to do that, but yeah. So we'll see about the live streams, and we'll see also about maybe a post PSL Ali Tareen podcast. That'll be interesting. Now that we have some content to buffer with him. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. We do engage with you guys in the comments there. Thank you to Sendwave for sponsoring the podcast, Yashi for sponsoring the podcast, the Patreon members for sponsoring the podcast. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Cheers.